Hey, what's up, Virgo? Welcome back to another timeless general tarot reading. Sorry, it's been a few weeks. I finally managed to kind of get back in the saddle on this whole thing, and I'm managing to consistently get videos out now, which I'm pretty excited about. It's something that I've wanted to get back into. So I'm sorry I haven't managed to get your videos up, get a video up for you for a good month or two now, but I'm finally getting back into the swing of things, and I think it's going to return to being a much more consistent effort from this point forward. So, I'm going to be doing my 139 tarot spread using the traditional tarots. Core energy is going to be from the anime tarot, so without any further ado, allow me to find your core energy for this reading. Great Goddess, could we please get a core energy for Virgo on this read? Alright. Sometimes you ask and sometimes you receive. So, core energy, the Magician, very good. This is the combination of all primal manifestational capacities. Yad-He, Vau-He, Yahweh, primal force, emergence of primal force, stabilization of primal force, and completion of primal force into material, which is fire, water, wind, and earth. Which is why they combine into the Magician, who embodies all four of those capacities, all four manifestational capacities. In deep potential here, deep power. A very interesting card for manifestation. So let us see what kind of clarifiers you've got for this. Oh, I usually don't, but let's do it this time. Okay, so I'm going to take both of these since they're coming out here pretty good. So we've got for you Judgment and King of Pentacles. Wow. Wonderful. Wonderful match. For your manifestations to become reality, it helps when your judgments are on point. And it helps when higher power sees your side to things. So it's almost a sign of making things easier for yourself is what's going to allow you to manifest those things. The most realistic things are the ones the easiest to manifest. And so in the upright, both of those energies are very good. And then following that up, King of Pentacles, Earth energy. So as Virgo, that matches your energy. And the King of Pentacles, they are the final step in of the four, Earth, which is the completion of primal force into form. Basically, it's the completion of primal force energy into material form. So that means that for somebody like the King of Pentacles, one thing that's very important to them is being able to manifest their material stability. So something that is very likely very important to you is manifesting that material stability. And you're lined up to have a great set of energy here with the Magician, which is what's required to actually achieve those manifestations. That's the capacity that you need to embody. Judgment, in order to pick realistic manifestations and not have weirdly outlandish ideas that you plan to manifest that aren't realistic. And the King of Pentacles energy itself is someone who can actually pull all of that together. It's somebody who values the material. It's somebody who understands the underlying energy of the material abundance and isn't just absorbed by the pure materium. They have a different relationship with the material than just get as much money as possible at any cost. It's much more about the abundance that they can overflow unto others as much as unto themselves. So very strong, very strong. I'm glad I took those two. Very, very good. So let's get one more clarifier here. Let us hope it is just as great as these, because it's shaping up to be one hell of a reading. So let us see. One more clarifier, please, for Virgo. Alrighty. So, third clarifier. Sometimes, though, manifestations do not come without a price. And it looks like in this instance, one of the prices that is going to be paid is that you aren't going to have as much opportunity to revel in your victory. You might actually find it very difficult to revel in your victory. Maybe in order to achieve these manifestations, you had to push certain people beyond their limits and they didn't appreciate it. Maybe you had to sacrifice certain people's company for the sake of achieving these manifestations. But unfortunately, what we've got here is a sign that despite the success of your manifestational capacity, there is a little bit of a kickback in terms of cause and effect. And one of the effects is someone is disappointed in, somebody has been rubbed the wrong way by all of this energy. And that's very disappointing. Especially if they're just being jealous because they have less time for you in the midst of you manifesting this stuff. So it very likely could be a family thing. You know, the very cliche line here is that, you know, the successful CEO doesn't have as much time for their kids. Like, that's, or there's much time for their family. Or just, they push their colleagues to a certain extent where the colleagues just feel drained by being pushed like that, and they don't appreciate it, so it makes it hard to, like, it makes it hard to celebrate the achievements. So that's very disappointing. Very disappointing. So, initial clarifiers for Judgment, we've got the World and the Knight of Swords. Wow, the Judgment to the World? That's an extremely powerful combination. Magician to Judgment to the World card. So a completion of the cycle. It's just another confirmation that you're actually going to be able to complete your manifestational desires. And one way you do that is actually through Knight of Swords energy, which even though it is wind and earth don't tend to meld well, but the diligence of this Knight of Swords, their ability to, and to a certain extent, it's about proper judgment, so it matches with the Judgment card because the Knight of Swords needs to have their judgment in place in order to succeed in how rapid of an onset they're taking forward. If they're basing their path forward on a faulty judgment, it becomes very reckless. But in the upright, there's a good shot that you're based on proper judgment, which you are. You are reinforced by this Magician and this Judgment card in the upright. And you're even reinforced by the World, suggesting that you're going to complete this. And the energy which would assist you in completing this is rational. It's go-getter energy. It is quick. It's verging on reckless, but it hasn't turned to recklessness. So it's like, it is a little bit of insistence. It is a little bit of really cutting through the red tape, so to speak. Hasty energy. It's haste, but haste that is very well pointed. Very well pointed energy. And it's very interesting because you could have got the Knight of Pentacles to match your King of Pentacles, but that would have been a lot slower, so to speak. It's a lot more diligent than the Knight of Swords, which is a little bit more throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks, but with a little more planning than that. So, interesting. You're not being called to necessarily just embrace your diligence. You're actually being called to embrace some go-get-it. Some go-get-it attitude. And you've got the energies backing you up here, for sure. Triple Major Arcana for that is extremely strong. This is shaping up to be one of the better readings I've done. So let's continue. See what else we can get for you on this Judgment card, final clarifier. Let's see here. Timer's at 8 minutes, 9 minutes. Not bad. We're making good pace here. I'm trying to keep... Whoa. Alrighty. So here's a little bit of an unfortunate change of events, though. 7 of Wands in reverse. This is a card about standing your ground on faulty ground. You think you've got the high ground, but it's not as fortified as you think. You're not actually standing on virtue as much as you think you are. And that's very bizarre here because you just came through this huge manifestational journey. And now all of a sudden you're hitting 7 of Wands reverse? That's very bizarre. I'm trying to figure out what the interval would be for this. The only thing that's matching onto right now is the Three of Cups reversed. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to move on from that Seven of Wands reversed because I'm going to look for some clarifications as to why that is there. So let's move on to the King of Pentacles. It's the last card it's one of the last cards I would expect to see there. So it's throwing me for a loop because it's throwing a wrench in all of your manifestation. Not that you are, it's almost a sign that maybe you are going to get overconfident, but once again, I'm not. Whoopsie. So let's see what fell out here. It's like the moon fell out for you. Oh no, it's the Eight of Cups. Interesting. So Eight of Cups fell out. Huh. Very strange. You're like, even though you have this manifestational capacity, even though you have the power to manifest it, and even though you are going to manifest it and complete this cycle, you're like, it doesn't leave you sated for some reason. And you see even better for the future. But that's a little strange because, that's a little strange because the world is about you completing that cycle. So moving on, you shouldn't have to move on like this if the world has deemed completion. Maybe you can start something new, but you would be starting at a different place than this Eight of Cups energy trying to move on from something. Very interesting. Let me get a further clarifier for that, because one thing that's kind of coming to mind is that, like, it's almost as if, usually when the Eight of Cups is in reverse, that means that you are being manipulated into not moving forward. But with the Eight of Cups in the upright, that means that you're set on moving forward. The issue here is that you probably don't, it's almost as if you don't need to move forward. Very weird. It's like the world itself is playing the Eight of Cups on you. That's very strange. Because the world is what wants you to grow and move forward and see beyond other people's limitations for you. But this is a very strange set of cards here where with the Seven of Wands on the edge, you're like, your desire to move forward is almost not validated in a very, very rare sense. So that is very interesting. But then it's also crossed here with Judgment, which means that you're on point with something. So very curious what is getting mixed up here. Let's see, what other clarifiers can I gather for this? Okay, so it's like 4 cards. Almost had one, but it did not show itself. I'm going to have to do a shuffle here. The energy is really sticking for you. Very tricky. Spirit's having a little bit of trouble getting this through for some reason. Very interesting. So I'm trying to think of what the Seven of Wands could be interfering with here, because that's usually a sign that you're not standing your ground properly on something. But which is why you would get this Three of Cups in reverse, because those people don't want to stand with you in that regard. This is shaping up to be very interesting. And the energy is sticking here, so let's see. King of Pentacles clarifiers, please. Clarifiers for King of Pentacles, please. Alright, so we've got one here. Judgment in reverse now. Whoa. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Overconfidence is really what's coming to mind for some reason. Like, you got whipped up in your manifestational energy, and once it got completed, you, like, to a smidgen of a degree, left what was natural to you to achieve these things. Like I said, as a King of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles energy, that diligence is more natural. So I was swinging this Knight of Swords like it was working in your favor. But now kind of what I'm seeing is that upon completing the cycle that you were trying to do, It's almost as if you got a little complacent and you left your element to try different things. However, it looks like that didn't actually work out for you. It looks like maybe other people were trying to warn you that this isn't exactly what got you here, but you were maybe you're like thinking, I'm just going to try something new. I want to try something different, move on. You're getting this strange warning here, though, that that's not a good sign. Or you're getting like a strange warning here that that's not exactly sound judgment anymore. So at some point, your sound judgment has shifted. And it really seems like it shifted after you completed the cycle. So instead of embracing the new journey, it's like you got a little complacent. That happens from time to time in readings. And it's not like you're a toxic King of Pentacles. It's showing that you're dignified. But you like embraced this odd energy of the sword, which I was suggesting would serve you in these regards, but after I'm seeing the energy evolve, it looks like it's not serving you. It looks like it's muddling your judgment, even though it's a dignified energy. So it's very strange. So you're doing it for like the right reasons, and you're even possibly wielding the energy well, but it's not like your truest energy. It's not this combination of major arcana. And if I'm looking at this cross here, your desire to move on like this is definitely not vibing well with other people. And usually and they're not even trying to like manipulate you into staying in any kind of way. You're the one who's leaving. You're the one who's looking for something better. And that's what this Knight of Swords, embracing this Knight of Swords energy was about. You were trying to look for a better way to feel your experience. But it seems as if you very possibly left behind some natural energy that got you into this in the first place, that made you the King of Pentacles. And there's other people who can kind of see that that's not really working out for you. Very interesting. So dang, one hell of a turnaround here. Whoa, and we've had Ace of Swords just fly out. So once again, misfiring of your judgment on this. You're trying to move out of your element for experimentation's sake just isn't seeming to work out for you here. So there's definitely a very strong call here to re-embrace the things that actually gave you this powerful manifestational capacity. And I might have called you Capricorn at one point. I'm not sure, but I know this is a Virgo reading, so I apologize if I misnamed that. I know it's a Virgo reading. So I don't even know if I did or not, but I'm just clarifying just in case I did. So Ace of Swords reversed, that's essentially poor judgment. It matches the Judgment card. And if your judgment is incorrect and you try to take action upon that judgment, if you try to create effect through that faulty cause, this type of the reverberations are something like this. You're not going to be able to stand your ground effectively because it's based on faulty judgment. And you fall into faulty judgment here, with the Judgment card falling into reverse now. From proper judgment originally that got you to this place of manifestation, into this complacency. It's the best way I can describe it. It's some kind of complacency. You thought you were moving on to something better. You thought you saw a better path forward. But whatever judgments you were basing that on are failing you. And you're failing to defend the ground you're standing on. You are leaving other people behind, which is making it very difficult for you to even to like enjoy your success the same way. And you're just getting these signs that it's based off of faulty judgment. So I don't know what that's all about. But the easiest thing I can see here is its complacency. You got kind of complacent in your success. And it led you to experiment, but you're experimenting kind of recklessly. Even though it's well-intended, and even though it's dignified to a certain extent, it's also not working. It's just the utter reality. The cause and effect is not serving in your favor as it once did. So, very, very interesting. It's a very great potential here for you to glean what I'm suggesting and sort of rectify this situation. So let's move on to the Three of Cups reversed. Whoopsie. Too many cards. But we do have the Seven of Cups, Five of Swords. It's too many cards, though. So let's give this another shot here. If I could, please, clarifiers for the Three of Cups. Closing on 20 minutes. I think I can clear this up in another 5 minutes, probably. Alright, good goddess, could I please get the clarifiers for 3 of Cups reverse, please, for Virgo? Once again, the energy is sticking a little bit. It's 4 cards. Let's go. Okay, so 8 of Wands. 8-8. That is the Lion's Gate, a gift from the universe. Even though you're not Leo, it is still the 8-8 Lion's Gate. It's a solid sign of your manifestations coming back to you. Your desires being achieved once yet again, which is very interesting because it's flanked by this 8 of Cups, which is about moving on to find those. So almost what I'm seeing here is you had one desire, you manifested it, and then upon achieving that cycle, you tried something new. And even though what you tried, the new thing you tried didn't work, isn't going to work out, or it's going to be very disappointing, or maybe you didn't put your all into it, whatever it was, you still saw that there was something better to be had. And that's where you moved on with this 8 of Cups. So even though you had reached the world, even though you had attained this magician and judgment power, you still saw better. The problem is for whatever reason, maybe it's because you left your natural element, you didn't find that better thing on the first try. However, and when you moved on like that, it rubbed people the wrong way for whatever reason, and usually that's just because they can't see the path forward that you see. Unfortunately, they see the results of this kind of messed up energy here with this poor faulty judgment and shoddy ground that you're standing on. But sometimes that, as a creator myself, sometimes that's a piece of the puzzle, is you have to fail in your creativity to discover which ideas weren't as valid as you thought. And usually that can evolve into even better ideas. So it's a piece of the puzzle that sometimes you have to go through these errors to glean greater truth. And it's almost suggesting here that that's something that you understood. So even though you messed up in this regard, maybe it was just honest error, which is what it's looking at, because all your energy is dignified up to that point, and it's pulling up a little bit here. So like, it almost strikes me that you were successful before. You tried something experimental because you could see something better. The experimental thing didn't exactly work, and not only did it not work, but like other people kind of got rubbed the wrong way about it. But you still have your desires incoming, and your manifestations are still in the right place, even though you had this lapse in success. And the only reason that you now have this next step to go to achieve your manifestations is because you took the risk to find something even greater than your prior success, even if that meant that you ran into some speed bumps along the way. So let's see what these final 2 clarifiers are, because that could really make or break this reading. Alrighty. And what you've got is 10 of Wands reversed and the 4 of Swords reversed. Dang it. So right when I thought it was all going to be good for you. So kind of what I'm getting here is that 10 of Wands is about almost being done with a heavy burden. Man, okay, so this is a very interesting reading. It's almost as if you're in a weird cycle where, like, you can achieve these manifestations, but then they're never good enough for you. And when they're never good enough for you, you reach out for other manifestations, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And that does start to weigh on you in terms of burdens, because you keep asking for more, you keep getting it, but you don't always get it in the way you intended. Sometimes you do, sometimes you do not. And like I said, as a fellow creative, I can understand why that's necessary to the process, but it's unfortunate that the other reality is that other people like get rubbed the wrong way by your error. Like, that's just disappointing. You know, like, how much have they achieved? If they had actually achieved things, you know, they would have a different sympathy. Either that, or they're just, I guess they're just perfect and they never err when they go for their manifestations. I don't know. Like, you know, or it's very personal where your family is like, your family or people who wanted more feelings from you aren't getting that from you, and it just makes it harder to enjoy their company. And I don't know if that's because of the time that you put into this effort, or because of maybe you don't listen to them properly whenever they could see where you are messing up on these like lazier attempts at manifestation. It's very interesting how this reading is playing out though, because to tail off this reading, you've got the Ten of Wands reversed and the Four of Swords reversed. And the Four of Swords reversed is about not stabilizing your emotions into the future. It's about not reflecting properly on how to stabilize your emotions in the future. And that is exactly the kind of energy that will get you into these shoddier judgments. So it's another sign here that you are like, give me one sec, there was a motorcycle loudly going, or a truck going by the window real loudly. Not sure if it picked up, but it might have got through, so I just took a sec for it to go by. So yeah, this is a very interesting reading, because the world signifying that you're completing a cycle. The problem is that you have your ups and downs every time you restart the cycle. And one of the reasons that you have the downs is because you achieve your manifestations, but sometimes you don't achieve them in the way you thought, or they don't provide you the happiness you thought they were. And when that happens, you seek a different type of route. The problem is, you've probably done this before, and there's a good sign here that you aren't necessarily learning how to always achieve the proper manifestations. You are... Sorry, hold on. Truck's going by again. Okay. The final message here, Four of Swords reversed, is that you are not... You're not really thinking through how this is all going to make you feel when you jump into some of this manifestation. Even though you can manifest quite greatly, according to this energy, even though you have manifested quite greatly, according to this energy, there's also this mix of energy here where when you move on to new manifestations, sometimes you jump into those out of your element. And I don't want to use the word boredom. I don't think that's close enough, but it's close-ish. Maybe a little bit of lackadaisicality, like a lackadaisical and bored. I don't want to use the word complacent because that's not close enough, but like a smidgen of just, damn it, I wish I could really nail this word, but there's just a twinge of like lazy control over your anticipations of your manifestations. And whenever that laziness is out of the picture, your manifestations are on point and powerful. When those manifestations, when that laziness is in your mix, it muddles your emotions a little bit, and the reasons you move forward are in an attempt to feel something in particular. And unfortunately, you're an earth sign as a Virgo. So maybe you have a lot of extra water in your chart or something like that, where those feelings are leading you naturally. If you're not, though, if you're a pretty dense earth sign, the manifestational results is going to be paramount to how you feel. So that's one reason why it's going to bother you so much when these judgments fail you, because you want that material stability big time, but you're missing out on a point of evolution here where you could really embrace that fact and move on with that fact, instead of falling into these sort of lazy, I hate to use the word lazy, falling into these lazier experimentations that aren't based on your strongest self. So I'm going to be really honest here. I've done this a couple other times, but the vibe that I'm getting right now is Elon Musk. There's times where he really nails it on manifesting stuff, and it's very great, it's very powerful. But as a fellow creator, I can understand that, once you've done that, every once in a while, you want to try playing around a little bit. You want to try dabbling in something that maybe it's not so set in stone, maybe it's not as powerful of a manifestation as you might have expected it to be. But just to play around a little bit, which is kind of what I mean by the laziness, is instead of like sticking to the diligent manifestations, it's like a verging off, it's like a forking off in the road on a distraction kind of. And even though that distraction can teach you things, even though that distraction can potentially manifest, the point of them is to manifest something just as powerful, there's times where they do not. So there's a mixture in the success of your manifestations. And as a Virgo, as an earth sign, the results matter quite a bit, which is part of why this is getting stuck, very likely getting stuck in your craw. If you were a different sign, like if you were a fire sign, you wouldn't get as bent out of shape over these failures of manifestation because it's just about taking the action. But as an earth sign, it's going to stick with you a little differently when these manifestations don't work out like you want them to. And there's a way to get around that. The way to get around that is you've really got to stick to your more powerful manifestational side. If you start to get into that lazier, playful side of things, it works against you, unfortunately. And you might be arguing to yourself that it's experimental in nature, and perhaps it is, but you're not managing to get other people at your back on those. And once again, for some reason, the vibe I'm getting is like Elon Musk playing around with Twitter, for instance. So I don't know, maybe Elon Musk watches these. That'd be pretty sweet, because I'm a huge fan. I appreciate all of it, because I appreciate him experimenting with Twitter, and I appreciate him making the rockets. I appreciate him experimenting with the tunnel boring company, and I appreciate him making Tesla EVs. Like, not everybody has that capacity in them to appreciate all of that. And also, when things don't work out, like I said, for an earth sign, it can hurt. So you're setting yourself up to get hurt a little bit here, if you can vibe with that kind of energy. So I think that's all I've got for this. I kind of droned on there at the end. I drug it out for like another 10 minutes, just driving those points home. I really hope they got through to you. A lot of potential here. A lot of people do not have this much manifestational power. Most people's problems are like that they're just stuck in negative energy and they can't manifest anything. Your problem is that you can almost manifest too many things, and because you're so manifestationally capable, you verge out into hopeless things just to try and shake up the game for yourself. And it's a very interesting place for you to be in. It's something you're going to have to decide for yourself how much that means to you, and how much it means to other people who are sort of dragged along in your wake, who might not be able to appreciate the way that creativity works. So like I said, Elon Musk really coming to mind here. Somebody that might be an exemplar for you. And that's what I've got for you. Pretty cool reading, Virgo. Very powerful. Very cool to see this. It'd be cool to be able to manifest these things in my own experience. And so it's pretty cool to see this for you. I'm happy that you're here. If you liked this reading, please leave a like. Drop a comment down below if you have anything to add or anything to comment upon. Subscribing to the channel would help. Sharing the video helps. If you check the description box below, there's other ways that you can support me through social media. Very easy, just following me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, yada yada yada. Everything I got listed down there. And if you're super inclined, throw me a few bucks on PayPal. That will support me in being able to up my production value for this whole thing. So it would be really appreciated, any of those ways that you could support me. And yeah, that's all I've got for plugs. So thank you very much, Virgo, for being here. This was a pretty cool reading. Take care and good luck.